Yeah, we low-key match.
No, we do not low-key match.
Yes, we do.
No,
Got the same color.
You got a zip up in the back.
I don't know what you're talking about. But this is luxurious.
When you try to take that, is that suede?
It's something like
or
it.
Velvet?
Something like it.
Shirt off. Do you ask your girl to unzip it from the back? Like, baby, can you unzip this for me?
Let's talk about this frame photo that you got here.
Yeah, Tio left my shit.
Okay. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. I'm Pierce Simpson. Thank you for joining us once again. There was big news in the association last night, and of course, we're going to talk about that to start things off. But first, I got Complex Sports editor Adam Caparell in the building. Adam, how you doing, man?
Oh man, doing all right today?
A picture of Gilbert Arenas is
yeah, we got a fourth on the set today.
I can dig it. And next to Adam Caparell is three-time NBA All-Star and All-Pro, which is something you enjoy much more. Why you
NBA Pro.
Okay, I love it. Top 15, correct?
Top 15.
Mr. Gilbert Arenas is in the building.
How you doing?
Gil, how you feeling, man?
Good.
Big news in the association last night. Big.
Yeah, there was some good stuff right
Slightly news.
Yeah, there was
okay.
good stuff.
Last night, Los Angeles Clippers, I believe the longest tenure Clipper at this point, Blake Griffin was traded to the Detroit Pistons for pretty much everything. Some of the trade pieces include Boban, not going to pronounce that last name. Marjanovic. Okay, there we go. Avery Bradley, Tobias Harris, and a first and second round pick.
You said everybody. I don't know none of that.
That's a lot.
You know A.V. Bradley.
Going with Blake Griffin is Bryce Johnson and Willie Reed. Now, those picks, mind you, are heavily protected, I believe, 1 through 4. So Detroit's,
protected for 3 years, too.
Yeah, they kind of have some insurance on this. What do we have to make of the entire trade and Blake Griffin going to Motown? Gil, what you thinking?
I mean, Detroit wins on this one.
Whoa, I would disagree on that, but go ahead.
They're in a playoff race.
So the Clippers.
So they just add a superstar to help them get over the hump.
Okay.
Wait, you're calling Blake a superstar now, the guy that you've clowned on previously.
Okay, superstar and if you look, superstar in the public's eye.
But if you look here, we have the projected starting five for the Detroit Pistons. We got Ish Smith, Reggie Bullock, Luke Kennard, Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond. That reeks of the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference.
8th seed.
And to get demolished, well,
that's good. 8th seed. That's
but
okay.
But you're still saying that the Pistons got the better of this trade.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
They got somebody who's going to fill up the seats. That's all people care about.
Yeah,
Blake is going to fill up the seats in that arena. So now you got a 5-man that's dominant. Now you got a 4 that can release.
You say fill up the seats. Blake Griffin has been injury prone in recent years.
Yeah.
Here's some of his contract numbers for the next 4 years. $31.8 million, $34.2 million, $36.5 million, and I believe the last year of his contract is a player option for $38.95 million. And hey, real quick, he's going to opt into that one. So
I'm just saying when it comes to the trade, because you already know where the Clippers is going. They're going back to where they were.
They're doing a soft rebuild.
They're going back to trash like they've been in the past.
Like Woj said, they're trying to rebuild on the fly, and that's pretty much impossible in the NBA.
But the Clippers cleared a ton of cap space. They can potentially go after a marquee free agent this summer, especially if you get rid of DeAndre and Lou Williams. They're going to have a ton of cap space. So you can go after LeBron, you can go after Paul George, you can go after guys.
Nobody wants to play for the Clippers.
Why not? If Steve Ballmer is going to be investing in this team and they're going to get a new arena down the line, why wouldn't you want to go to LA?
Because they're a second-tier bullshit YMCA
the Lakers
organization.
Lakers have been garbage for 4 or 5 years.
The organization themselves.
Yeah,
do you know they just got a practice facility in the last 15 years?
And you also know they got
they was practicing.
And they got rid of Donald Sterling as the owner. Steve Ballmer's the owner.
They were practicing in 2000 at a YMCA.
And this is
a shit organization.
This is the Clippers projected starting five. We got Milos Teodosic.
What the fuck is this thing?
Lou Williams at shooting guard, Tyrone Wallace, Tobias Harris at power forward, and center DeAndre Jordan. And that's tentatively because Woj said they are shopping DeAndre Jordan at this moment, along with Lou Williams.
They could, so the Clippers could have, depending on what you get back for Lou Williams or DeAndre, they could have as many as 3 or 4 first-round draft picks in the upcoming draft.
A loaded draft.
So they are, the soft rebuild or the rebuild on the men, but like
exactly what the old Clippers used to do. They got a whole bunch of draft picks.
Yeah, but who is running the organization now? Jerry West.
Yeah.
Yes, much better than the old Clippers days.
1,000.
Much better than the old Clippers days.
What do we make of Jerry West, who's had his hand in a variety of dynasties over the past couple of years? Lakers to begin in the 2000s, most recently the Golden State Warriors, now he's with the Clippers. What are we on?
Whatever Jerry West wants to do, you just sit back and say, go ahead, you do. He's worked magic just about everywhere he's gone, so why would you go against Jerry West?
Yeah.
You don't agree, though.
It's the Clippers.
So I feel like you're bringing in that old guard saying it's the Clippers. Donald Sterling is no longer there. Some of those.
It's the Clippers. It's the Clippers.
So lifelong Clippers fan Paul George, he's not eyeing that this summer?
What? I
don't. Yeah, but again, it's not the old Clippers, so I don't understand why wouldn't want to be attracted.
Nobody
to
wants to be attracted to the second fiddle team in Los Angeles. No superstar wants to get overshadowed by a bottomless Laker.
Can I ask you a question?
So if you're LeBron and you're actually coming here and you're competing with Alonzo Ball's name because he's on a Laker team, no.
Can I ask you a question?
No one's doing that.
In the last 4 years, what major free agent have the Lakers attracted? Zero. Zilch. Yeah. Why are they going to attract?
What was the last big free agent that the Clippers ever got?
Blake Griffin.
No.
Yes, technically.
What?
Technically. They signed last summer.
Yeah.
I mean, they signed their own player back. What big free agent has came here?
Davis.
Okay.
I understand where you're coming from. The old guard, the old Donald Sterling Clippers. You wouldn't want to deal with that. But Steve Ballmer's changing.
It's the fucking Clippers.
All right, I got one more little side to ask you guys. Yeah. Over under number of games that Kendall Jenner attends in Detroit.
Oh no. Oh no. Him going to Detroit was really bad. Him keeping his girls, that's not happening.
That didn't happen.
That is not happening.
No way, no. Kendall's following him to Detroit.
All he needs to do is get him some buffs. Because Detroit, so we get the nerd glasses in Los Angeles.
Yes, buffs like the Cartiers?
Yeah, they do buffs. So he go to the buff store, get him there, he's cool again. Get him a passport.
Go to Canada?
Yeah, you got the Canada right there. So hopefully you can get traded there. Don't date no girls who name their children Baraka.
Did you go to the casinos in Detroit?
Nobody goes nowhere in Detroit.
So what are you doing when you're in Detroit?
You sit in a hotel until you get the fuck out of there. It's Detroit. It's Detroit. No one. Okay, look.
I want to apologize to our fans from Detroit. Right
any states with the M.
So Michigan,
Mississippi, Maine, Montana.
No, for basketball.
Oh, for
Michigan,
basketball.
Minnesota, Milwaukee.
But what about Memphis?
Milwaukee's a city.
I mean, Memphis.
Yeah, those are all trash.
Yeah.
All trash. So if it starts with the M in the NBA, stay away.
Stay away.
And you played in Memphis. That's what's funny.
Briefly.
Did I?
All right. Real quick. What's a better combo, Blake and Drummond or Blake and DeAndre?
Blake and Drummond.
I would agree. Yeah, I think so too.
Blake and Drummond scores. He does other things.
I think Andre Drummond's a much more dynamic offensive player right now than DeAndre.
I can see
and
that.
Also analytically a better defender, even though everyone says DeAndre's a better defender.
I can see that, but this
reminds me of Lamar Odom.
But we just keep putting Blake into the same positions. We want to see Blake. What was the growing narrative when Chris Paul was there? We can't allow Blake to be the point forward or the guy that can control the ball. When you put him in Detroit, it's a similar situation that he's in with the Clippers. You have a cumbersome 5-man there. Let Blake.
But your 5-man average is double-double. That's the difference.
Yeah, but it's clogging the lane. If you want to see Blake go and flourish, put him somewhere where he can just be the point forward or the point 5.
I don't want to fucking see Blake be the point forward. That's what's wrong with his career.
Yeah, but he's going to take the ball up the court.
But that's what's wrong with his career. He's supposed to be down low.
You don't even believe that's why you like.
No, I'm saying he's supposed to, come on, you're talking about a guy who has a 44-inch vertical. He should be commanding double teams in that lane. But no one double teams Blake because he wants to sit there like a guard and shoot. If Blake Griffin is shooting threes, as a defense, I'm like this.
But here's the thing.
He's not getting me in foul trouble. He's not embarrassing me. He's out there chucking threes. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but he ain't the same athlete.
Exactly. His game is more below the rim.
No, he's been below the rim his whole career. He does the same. This is when I knew Blake was some shit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Left block post up.
Okay.
He dribbled towards the baseline. So instead of going with your left hand, he's dribbling right, and then when he spins, you wonder why the ball gets stolen. Your back is against fucking 8 players. Your back is against 8 players. Who taught you that? And then when he did go left in the middle, instead of drop stepping like a normal human being, he does that power 360 jump.
Where he jumps into the person?
No, he goes and does that. Y'all see that bullshit, right? Y'all see what the fuck kind of move is that? This bum ass off the court.
Hey, Bill Simmons compared him to New York Knicks, Larry Johnson.
I just want to know how long before he started crying about Stan Van Gundy.
You tell us.
Yeah, you tell us.
I give him
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Stan's gonna fuck him up first week. I give him about 3 weeks because he's never practiced with Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Stan is shoot-arounds is practice. Shoot-arounds ain't no shoot-around.
Yeah.
Elbow pass, knee pass, get your ass in practice. We're going full live. in shoot around.
So that honeymoon's going to last about a week.
Oh, no, it's like training. Oh, it's like training camp.
Yeah.
He's going to wear Blake ass down. Blake should have had him the beginning of his career.
Now he gets my
They're going to be like this over there.
Right.
And at least he has $30 million to be happy.
Keeping it moving over to the world of baseball, the Cleveland Indians are ditching the Chief Wahoo logo, but not until 2019. So the Indians announced yesterday that they're removing the problematic cartoon from their jersey sleeves and caps starting in 2 more years. A question for you guys is, why is it taking so long, and why are we only waiting now, or now in 2018 and have to wait till 2019 to actually see this take place? I mean, you would think that in this day and age, this would have been an obvious move for Indians to have made years ago.
Right. It's just alarming that a lot of sports fans want to keep the old guard around, no matter how offensive it may be. If Chief Wahoo is leaving as a logo, which it should, I mean, it's been years since it should have been removed.
Yeah.
The Redskins' name has to go as well.
And that's not going anywhere. That's the problem, though. I mean, these 2 problematic emblems that have been stuck around for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And if you say that the Chief Wahoo logo is not problematic, I don't know what the hell you're smoking. It's extremely problematic. But yeah, it's sad that the Indians are actually making inroads to do something, but the Redskins probably won't do a damn thing for years and years.
So the NFL puts pressure on them. What you thinking, Gil?
I'm thinking the same thing 90% of America is.
What?
Who gives a fuck? Like, do we really care?
I think so.
Is it going to help them win?
So.
Changing the logo.
But they're a winning franchise right now.
They're in Cleveland, bro.
But I don't think
they're in Cleveland.
But it's not about winning. It's just the imagery that you present as an organization, as a franchise.
You've had the logo since before time.
But they went to the World Series.
Yeah, they've been on a good run right now. They're one of the better teams in the American League.
They're in Cleveland. Like
2016.
There's some things people like. Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit.
All right, but you played in Washington. Do you think the Redskins' name is problematic?
Yes, that's what I've known.
Yeah, but do you honestly think the Redskins' name is problematic?
I'm not Indian. I'm black.
What if it was the Washington blackface? You'd be pissed there. Yes. Oh, I don't know if he would be pissed. Look at his reaction.
Okay, I get it. Okay,
you get it?
I get it.
You get it?
I still don't give a shit.
Yeah, yes, you do.
Like some people just don't give a shit. I'm one of them. Like save that argument for somebody else who actually cares.
At least you're honest about it. But there are people in subsets of America that care about it, and
but that's what when you start caring about names, then we're in an age where just everything is problematic now.
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit. Okay, they can change it or not change it. If it helps them win or if it doesn't, Chief Wahoo.
So you just care about the bottom line product on the field?
Oh yeah, product on the field. Okay. Are they winning?
They are, yes.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like one of those things is the name was like I associate the name with the Cleveland. So if they change it, they change it. I have to adapt to that. Yeah. But I'm not going to sit here and go out of my way to say they need to change the name because it's offensive to Indians.
Well, should they change the name?
That's
a tough one. I struggle with that one too. I mean, definitely changing the logo is a great step, and they've kind of taken steps to that, kind of incorporating the C logo. But still in the stands, like in the playoff series we've seen the past several years with the Indians, you see a ton of Chief Wahoo, signs, posters.
Yeah, because
still a ton of paraphernalia, and they're still going to sell the Chief Wahoo logo for another season because of trademark issues.
Because that's what I said. Because it's part of that's what you grew up.
But like, that's the tough.
Like what happens now? What Buffalo? Buffalo gonna change the Buffalo because of vegans and all that. Yeah, but I'm saying it's always something. It's always something.
I see your point, and I see the attachment to history and like, listen, that's the team that we grew up on. The imagery, I get it, but also there is an element where it is problematic. It is offensive, and to piggyback on what you said, should the Indians' name be changed? If it was tied in with the Chief Wahoo, they both kind of work in step with being offensive, right? Because what you thought of Indians being, you create the logo. So if that's the case, then eventually the name needs to be changed. But the Redskins name
needs to go too.
How about Washington Royals? How about that? No? Okay. Gil's
not feeling it? All right. Let's keep it moving on to another subject.
Part of the name. When vegans and PETA start attacking the teams that got animal logos, then y'all gonna really be like, oh, that's fucked up right there. They going too far. The motherfuckers going too far.
He might be on to something.
They got rid of the bull.
He might be on to something.
He's got strong opinions. All right, moving over to the NFL. Is the National Football League about finally ready to change the obviously terrible catch rule? So Roger Goodell was on The Herd with Colin Cowherd yesterday and said that he is concerned about the rule, which isn't clear about what is and is not a catch and what constitutes control. So we have, as football fans, bitched and moaned for years about the obviously terrible catch rule. We've seen it come back to bite teams like the Steelers earlier this year. Calvin Johnson's the first example. Your boy Des Bryant against the Packers years and years ago. So is the NFL finally going to A, change this rule, and B, what the hell took them so long to actually make this happen, if it's actually going to happen?
I'm curious, Gil, we were having a heated conversation in the back, not necessarily heated, but we were trying to figure out what's a catch and how it compares to something in NBA. You don't like the gray area with NFL. You believe 1-2, touchdown.
It's just too, it's not, there's too many variables that don't make sense and they always contradict each other. Like, if the touchdown, if the end zone is the landmark, I catch it with 2 hands, my 2 feet are grounded.
Yeah.
Touchdown. Whatever happens after that it's voided because I've already scored the touchdown. So if I catch the ball and my 2 feet are grounded, now someone hits the ball, that play is dead because I've already scored.
That's the thing about football. It works in conjunction. So it's your feet and the ball almost simultaneously where you have to complete the process of the catch. But again, we see touchdowns time and time again, like Kelvin Benjamin this year in New England, where it's like, that's a catch.
No, that's
a touchdown.
It's absolutely maddening. We've been dealing with this for years. The Calvin Johnson's the touchdown in the with Detroit years ago was the first example of this. But like, it's created a million reviews in the NFL that makes these games unwatchable. It's just agonizing every time we have these situations they go to review, and you have massive swings not only in winners and losers on the football field, but also from a gambling perspective. Do you know how much goddamn money I've lost in this catch rule? It's like insane, especially with the Steelers and Patriots and just a million other examples. So it's like, I don't know why it's taken the NFL so long. We all bitch and moan about this on Twitter on a consistent basis, and it's supposed to go in front of the competition committee, which is made up of the owners, to get this rule changed. So it's like we're still a long ways away from them actually doing something about this rule.
It just doesn't make sense. I just don't understand what is the big deal. Like, it's a touch. You can see a touchdown. Like, what was the last play where he caught it with the one hand, he came down 2, and then
the Calvin Johnson play.
That is a touchdown. There's I don't even know why you're arguing that. He caught the ball with one hand, boom, landed, turned. He put the ball down. That's a touchdown. I don't know what other process need. Does he need to dance for you? Does he need to sugar and die?
In the NFL, like, they want to see it all the way, like the.
That is all, but that's what I'm saying. There has to be.
So what is your fix for it? How do you want to simplify the rule?
Once he so if a guy's running, right, and he jumps, you know how they try to jump out of bounds and they break the line. Once that ball broke the line, it's a touchdown. When he falls out of bounds, he falls and fumbles it. They still count as a touchdown. What's the difference?
If he's losing possession, if the ball's fumbling and he's losing possession as he jumps across the line, more times than not, they may call it a touchback.
I just don't understand. You talk about if making a football move.
Yeah.
If you're in the process of making a football move, you catch the ball, you have 2 feet, on the ground, you have possession, you make another move like that, and then somehow you go to the ground and jostle around. I don't understand, again, how that's not a catch. We've seen a million examples of where guys have clearly possessed the ball, and then other momentum or getting pushed out or whatever the case is has caused them to go to the ground, and the ball gets jostled. But you've already made a catch. You've established possession. You have 2 feet on the ground. That should be simply a catch. And the NFL has muddied this to levels that is just so unnecessary and so ridiculous that this shouldn't have been an issue for the past several years. And yet somehow, shocker, the NFL fucked things up.
But that should be like at least a second or half a second catch rule. Because like I remember, once I break the line, like once the ball goes and it breaks the line, it's a bucket. Anything that happens after that is secondary to that bucket. So if I shoot the shot and it goes in, now I hit you, bucket counts. Offensive foul or whatever it is count. But they don't take the basket out. The basket already hit the plan.
You're gonna, in this day and age, you're gonna be a meme off this move that you did here. You're gonna be a meme, a GIF, all that. I just think that it's tough that each and every one of these moves.
That's what's about to happen to Kendall when Blake
it's on you, yeah.
Back to the NFL. It's like players each and every time we have these controversial catch rules, it's like the NFL is knocking players that make athletic moves after they catch the football. Whether it was Calvin Johnson making a super athletic move,
you're punishing them.
Des Bryant, it's like they're trying to reach for the goal line or make the extra play that fans want to see. And if the ball jiggles a little bit, they call it incomplete.
And what faith do we have in the NFL to actually make the right decision to alter this rule and make it simplified? I have almost none.
I think once it breaks the plane, it's a touchdown.
I'm almost rooting for one more fucked up catch rule that happened in the Super Bowl, just to like push this over the edge, and just to make it.
Won't happen against the Patriots. I can tell you that.
Probably
for sure.
won't. No. But it'll probably cost me money. So
when we come back, tomorrow, this needs to be a Tom Brady photo for him. Just frame Tom Brady photo.
Someone sent Gil a Tom Brady signed jersey or something like that.
When LaVar Ball is not trashed and Luke Walton or a variety of other players around the league, he has his sights set on Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr. And his latest comments we're going to discuss on whether or not it's fair or foul. Fellas, LaVar Ball won his first game as professional coach on Sunday, coaching his sons in Lithuania, of course. I don't know if you saw his suit. It was definitely not Big Baller Brand. It was more like, Joseph A. Banker, whatever. But after the game, he had this quote in which he said, coaching is not hard. I mean, anybody can be a coach. Hey, anybody can be a coach. You know what? I'm going to put a sign out there so you really go crazy. Look at Steve Kerr. He's the Milli Vanilli of coaching. Ooh. Now, mind you, Milli Vanilli was embroiled in a scandal back in the 90s in which they were lip syncing their songs. I believe they won Grammys. So in layman's terms, LaVar Ball, is saying that Steve Kerr is kind of like a fraud coach. Gil, what we make of Coach LaVar Ball's statements about Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr?
Listen, when you have horses like Steve Kerr does, you get to sit on the sideline and look nice. So
you're saying it's fair for LaVar Ball to call
in a sense, it's fair what he's saying because, he doesn't have to coach. But
you don't think so?
He doesn't really have to. All he does is just make his grades. So you got to remember, coaching coaches in practice. That's his coaching ground, practice, making sure these guys get the plays, making sure when you're in a game and you have great players, all you're doing is just maintaining, making sure you're making the right subs, not fucking up the rhythm. Because at the end of the day, the great players are going to do what they do best.
But that's almost every great coach in history, right? We can say the same thing about Greg Popovich. We can say the same thing about Phil Jackson, even in other sports. Bill Belichick, you have great players. That's why great coaches succeed, because they have great players.
Because that's what I say. You let the players play the game. You coach them in practice. You hone in their talents in practice. And once they get to the game, that's when you relax and you're just reading off the blue sheet. Just, all right, 6-minute mark, all right. You two, get in.
Do you think that's more important than just being like an X's and O's guy? Because you talk about Stan Van Gundy being an X's and O's guy, but not necessarily a people person. But you have a guy like Steve Kerr who's able to sit down with Steph Curry and Draymond.
You see why those guys are successful, though. Yeah. You see why the guys that are they're call them players coaches, right? Because they've played the game. They understand when you need rest, when to call a timeout, when to sub, when not to sub. A coach does not know that. All he does is he's looking at X's and O's and trying to figure out, all right, go in for, Steph. Steph just called a heater. Why are you going in for him? He has a mismatch. Why are you going in for him? But, like players like a Doc Rivers or, Steve Kerr, they understand time management and understand when to sub someone out. So, that's why you can just see Steve Kerr over there sitting there yapping and talking. And, he doesn't need to engage, yelling from the sideline. For what? Right. What are you yelling about?
Cap, fair or foul?
I'm going to call foul. I mean, this is just LaVar being a troll, number one. And number two, you can give Steve Kerr not that much credit because he has 4 amazing players that form the core of the Warriors, and it's a big reason why they've been so successful. But at the same time, there's something to be said for the behind the scenes, his whispering to guys and knowing how to motivate them. And we saw that great video of him, motivating Steph, during a game on the sidelines and giving him little liners here and there. So, it's all the behind the scenes stuff that he does. LaVar, what does he really coach in his life that he's going on this rant and rave about being Milli? So I'm calling foul big time, and I think Steve Kerr in these big time coaches, yes, success is predicated on your talent and your players, and you have to placate to them and mold your strategy around their talents. But at the same time, if you can't get to your players and motivate them and know what makes them tick and work and how they kind of operate throughout a long-ass season, the way the NBA is, then you're not going to be around for very long.
That's what coaching is. Coaching is not, running up and down, getting technicals, what we see as fans. That's not coaching. I remember we were playing against, when I was in Orlando, we was playing against the Bulls.
Was this coach Jack Vaughn?
No, this is Stan.
Oh, it's still Stan. Okay.
We're playing against the Bulls with Thibodeau.
Okay.
So Dwight was out that game. So Derrick Rose came down, shot 3 jumpers. Thibodeau called the timeout, right? Called the timeout, right? And so I'm just looking, and I'm thinking, he's about to cuss Derrick Rose out. He's like, yo, they don't have Dwight. The motherfuckers can't stop you. Kill him. Yeah. Go back in. He's like, go in. We're in a timeout. And then he looked at the rest of them, go in. I didn't want nothing. Go. But it was like, Jesus Christ. And then from there, all you seen was Derrick Rose just hit the lane. Bah, 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 bah. Yeah.
See,
he didn't call
stories
no
are great.
plays,
I love
no
hearing
nothing
stories
after
like
that. It was just that was his coaching. Hey, the white's not there. Attack that motherfucker. He can't stop you.
As a player, whenever a coach was trying to give you direction, which method did you respond better to? The rah-rah guy or the guy that just pushes us to the side and say, Gilbert, do this?
It depends on what mood I'm in. You got to remember, there's ups and downs. There's time when I don't want to hear what you're saying, and there's times where, hey, what's going on? Like, am I fucking up? Or, a player knows, or as a coach, you got to know what part of that, what time of the game should you say or criticize a player.
Right. To kind of put a button on all this, I think, in my opinion, I'm going to have to say foul. And I think this is the beginning of the end when it comes to the relationship between the media, coaches, and LaVar Ball, because this is the third coach he's criticized. Remember, the head of the Coaches Association, Rick Carlisle, came out and said that, LaVar Ball is just kind of trashed him in the media. For him to come out and say Steve Kerr is the Milli Vanilli of coaching, you can't do that.
I mean, but at the end of the day, that's what LaVar Ball gets to do. He has no merit.
But at what point
that will cost him anything?
But then,
he just gets to do. He's a fan that gets a microphone. He gets to say whatever the fuck.
But when does the media stop putting a microphone in front of him? Because
Never.
I think he's losing his validity at some point.
Never.
He's saying
entertainment.
He's saying wilder and wilder shit though. He's entertainment. But
he's
at some
entertainment.
point, Pete's completely right. Like at some point,
are you not going to interview him?
If we had the opportunity, we'd have to take it. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So
Real talk.
Because he's a great soundbite.
But at what point does he just Donald Trump himself, and you're just like, okay, just
Donnie's still up there. You got to remember, he's a soundbite. Everybody wants that soundbite. Everybody wants that big story of him saying something wild. That's what I hate reporters for, because they use it against you, like somebody like T.O.
Yeah.
They use his soundbites against him, but they love the sound bites because it helps their career.
1000%.
Which one it is? He's helping your career, but then when it comes to voting, like, I don't like him. I'm only here because of him, but I don't like him.
No, I feel you. It can be a dirty game sometimes.
I know what you're saying.
It can be a dirty game sometimes, but for the benefit of his children, I would advise LaVar Ball just to chill out. But
Melo did have a triple-double. So.
I know. Hey, I like the young one. I like the young one.
He's not bad, but I'm a little alarmed. He's like 6'6" and can barely dunk. But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
He's still young.
We'll talk about
the fact that he's 6'6".
It's pretty nice.
I mean, in the middle one is 6'5", power forward.
Should have played football. But that wraps things up for the latest edition of Out of Bounds. For Adam Caparell, Gilbert Arenas photo frame, Mr. Gilbert Arenas in real life.
I got a hot take.
What's that?
Have they announced the rookie game yet?
Yeah, Lonzo Ball's in it. I checked. He's in it. Yep, see? And I'm Pierce Simpson, and that wraps up the latest edition.
Did you see who else is on the team?
Bounds.
No, but
Yeah,
and just the way it broke down, it wasn't enough names, right? So,
but
you should see some of the other names on the list.
yeah,
But he hasn't played enough. I mean, has he played enough to break the All-Star game?
they just need bodies.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Ntilikina's on the team. Frank hasn't exactly popped off with it.
No, I was just wondering if
Luke Kennard was on the team.
No, I mean, not because of his play. I mean, if he was playing, but I'm just saying he missed so
a lot
many
of
games. So I'm
Yeah, but it's not predicated on stats and games. I mean, they need bodies, and you have some guys in that game that have had excellent, seasons so far, like Donovan Mitchell. But at the same time, like plenty of other guys that just need to get, who are somewhat name-worthy and definitely haven't had phenomenal.
Oh, I just thought he just didn't. He didn't have enough.
He's
games.
definitely no.
Oh, he's only missed. Oh, he's only missed like right now, like 10 games, right?
Roughly.
Oh, he's fine.
Just about.